Hey there, this is Perch. Comment that, does the young teen tween girl market exist? I think this is a kind of a weird topic to have because there's an easy and obvious answer. Yes, the answer is yes, it does exist. How? How do we know it exists? Well, in short, because there are a lot of you have Raina Telgemeier doing books, and you have lots of content and material out there that sells to this market, and it's a lucrative market, and there's nothing wrong with it. It does fine. Um, but the people, I frequently say, because I'll do these threads from time to time talking about Moon Girl or Wasp or Squirrel Girl or some of the different attempts Marvel's made at kind of cracking into this Telgemeier audience, to that market. And Marvel doesn't, in the direct market with floppies, they're not successful there. They'll sell some copies, but it doesn't do well. And these titles start to get kind of a, I don't want to say black eye, but they don't sell, and then it makes Marvel look kind of dumb or bad for trying in the first place. When I think that the way they're going about trying to sell into that market is destined for failure. The tween girl market, there's no evidence that they are going to be grown through the direct market. So, I mean, if you're going to put comics out there and just kind of hope that this audience kind of evolves and matures and comes to be, that's fine. That's a fine idea, but it's misplaced a little bit. If you're going to do this, then you need to make sure that market either exists or that you have some kind of ways to get into that market to get it going. If you just kind of start, throwing floppy issues out and saying, well, they'll come eventually, they won't. And then you look stupid because you're canceling titles all the time, and it's not a good thing for you. So it really needs to be a more thoughtful strategy. But like I said, the market does exist. The thing is, though, by all accounts, by all evidence that we have in front of us, the market primarily exists through mini graphic novels, trades, uh, things like Telmeier's books, or when Squirrel Girl or Miss Marvel or some of these books do sell, they tend to sell in that way. They tend to sell as these small kind of 12.99, 16.99 books. Those sell great. If you're Raina Telgemeier. If you're Marvel, some sell okay. They sell better than the floppies in the store, but they're still kind of missing the mark. But all that said, there absolutely is a tween teen girl market. There definitely is, and they have expendable cash, and they're willing to part with it, and all that stuff is great. It's definitely something worth chasing. You might say, well, then why doesn't Marvel make money? Well, because they're chasing it the wrong way. The content that they have is not resonating with that audience. It doesn't land. That's problem number one. Number two, the direct market approach with floppies doesn't seem to land either. That seems to cause a lot of issues, and it doesn't work. So there's a you can't give up on that market. It'd be stupid to give up on that market because there's so much money in that market. But at the same time, um, you have to do it the right way. Otherwise, you're just pumping and dumping stuff into the store that's not going to go anywhere, and ultimately it makes it kind of stupid. The biggest challenge I think Marvel has with some of these attempts is when they get so outfoxed or outmaneuvered by Scholastic and some of these other publishers. These other guys are setting the water level, if you will, for the market. And so when Marvel comes out and they publish a couple DM, for the direct market floppies, they don't do well. It makes their brand look inferior. It actually makes their kind of who they are as a company look either kind of old fashioned or dumb or not with it, not with what is currently popular. And I think that's super dangerous for Marvel. It's definitely a problem. And so, should Marvel keep going? Is it worth it? I mean, at some point, if you're trying to exploit a market and you're not getting anywhere, you have to ask yourself, is it worth even trying? Is it worth, maybe just focus on what you're good at or where the market is and let other people take certain other markets so you don't dilute your brand? I think that Marvel has to chase this market. I don't think they have a choice. You might say, hey, they're good for Kate books and they've got their superhero lineup, and branching out is always fails. So you know they're dumb to try. And I don't agree. And I don't agree because if you're a major publisher, particular major publisher purchased by Disney and owned by them, then you kind of have to go after that kid market. It is the growing market. It is the market that is going to ultimately transform people into adults who are going to read your books. The challenge is you've got to write with them in mind first. And use a phrase from tech industry. There was a period of time where websites, for regular old websites you get on your laptop, your PC, or whatever, were being kind of scrunched down and chopped up for mobile. So mobile got pretty powerful and pretty popular, and you're seeing these kind of hacked websites that were being crammed onto mobile devices. And then this, I'm sure highly paid consultant, somebody came along and said, hey, the right approach, the only approach, is mobile first. Mobile is an emerging market. It's a powerful market. It's one that we care about. It's one we need to pay attention to. We can't sleep on it. So therefore, mobile first. And the idea there was, you're still going to have to do everything. You're still going to have to make a desktop and a laptop PC, but you're going to think about a mobile device for what's relevant to a mobile device, the screen size and how you interact with it, what you click, all that kind of stuff. You're going to think about it as a unique device on and of itself and not as a kind of crammed down version of your main website. And as a result of that thinking and money and get people who are chasing money effectively, you saw more and more websites become mobile friendly. You saw responsive as a technology come up. And the same thing needs to be done with comics. So if you're going to chase a teen between kid market, you need to think kid first. And that means do writing that is actually appropriate for kids. Go out and hire writers and artists and creative teams who have experience doing work for kids. Don't go out and tell your current crop of writers, hey, we need you to kind of write a kid friendly title. So, you know, get to it. Because what invariably happens is these people are not good at writing that kind of content. They insert lots of weird little jokes and humor and just other kind of very off things. And it gets to be, it's just jarring. And I think you see that with a lot of Marvel stuff, where if you read, some of these books, they're intended to be for a kid audience, but they don't read that way. They read like a grown up trying to pretend what it's like to be a kid and kind of do an amalgamation of kind of old Scott Pilgrim jokes, and kind of it just they feel off, especially when like these kids start making these dated references. It's like Wes Anderson movies. If Wes Anderson was directing like the live remake of The Little Mermaid, like you wouldn't have him do that. That would be stupid, because Wes Anderson is going to write for millennials and for an older audience, and does great work. Actually, makes fine films, very clever. Moonrise Kingdom is one of my favorite films. I think he does a great job. But I'm not going to sit my kid down and show it to her and expect her to like it, enjoy it, understand what's going on, or just think any part of that is normal, other than dad's a weirdo for showing me this. So that's how a lot of the young adult titles, including DC, don't let them off the hook. I think, the Young Justice and some of these titles that are new, there's elements to them that are just not. They're better. They are better aimed, but still they feel like they're made for the older fans under a quote unquote youth banner. It doesn't fit. So, what do you do about all this? It's important for Marvel to chase a market. You need to chase the market like any sensible business would chase a new market. You hire experts, you get them in, and you do the right thing. That's what you should do. If You shouldn't abandon it. So to all the people out there saying, "Hey, Marvel's writing comics for a market that doesn't exist," no, I disagree completely. They're writing comics for a market that absolutely does exist, and they're not writing it for that market. They're writing it for some other imaginative, reader that is not real, and that's kind of the rub. So I don't know. Have I bored you all yet? I think that these comics and this line and that market is really, really important, and I think it's underserved. I think it's actually it's why Moon Girl does well. I think Moon Girl is a title. When you read that, it fits. It fits the audience that it's being written for. And if you read the uncancelable wasp, is that what it was? No, that wasn't what it was. The un the unshippable wasp. No, that's mean. The unbeatable wasp. The unbeatable. The unstoppable wasp. There you go. If you read that, I mean, I like the creator. I want to say I've met the creator, the writer. He's a good guy, no issues, very friendly. But if you read that and you read Moon Girl, you will read one title that feels like it's actually for kids and for the that market, and you read another title that feels like it's for, I don't know. It feels like somebody went and said, "Hey, write a comic for kids," and the writer's like, I don't know how to do that." And like, "Yeah, but here's money," and the writer's like, "Well, okay, I'll give it a shot," and that's what we got. So writing for kids is an art, just like writing for adults, just like writing for men, for women, for whatever market you're going after. You should be an expert in that market. It's as simple as that. What do you think? Hey, leave me a comment below. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Tell your friends. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch. And thanks for listening.